Hey everyone. So I'm in the interesting position of being the only person with a deep understanding and appreciation for Walt Disney World, and also the only person who is both young and old enough to know how to upload a video to YouTube. So, I took it upon myself to rank all the rides in Walt Disney World. So one day, when your kids beg you to go to Disney instead of go to college, because shit's expensive, let's face it, uh, you can remember this video and hopefully know which rides to skip and which rides to go with. So let's start with Winnie the Pooh, I guess. This is one of the slow-moving dark rides. This was made before people knew what amusement parks were. Uh, so someone had the genius idea to slap you in a bumper car that guides you through Pooh's fever dream. I'm not even sure if like a kid would like this ride, honestly, because like I feel like Pooh's not really marketed by Disney too much anymore. And the line is always like 40 minutes despite being constant loading. And you're like 5 feet from the train in front of you. So I'm not sure. The building is air conditioned, so I'll put it in D instead of F. Skippable, I'd say. You don't really have to ride Winnie the Pooh. Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise is pretty trash. The bulk of the experience is your tour guide telling jokes or your tour guide telling jokes. Um, and like narrating the ride as you go along. And every now and then you'll get a winner who is genuinely funny despite having that trademark Disney World censorship that they have to go around because the average age at Magic Kingdom specifically is like 10. So, yeah, you're usually just not really going to have a great time. Uh, but just as often as you'll get someone who's funny, you'll get someone who's like kind of awkward and boring, and you're just in a boat with like 20 other loud people looking at animatronic elephants. So it's pretty sucky and skippable. We often skip it at least. I'm gonna put you in C. Uh, the Tomorrowland Speedway is just shit. It's absolute garbage. It's the exact opposite of what it's supposed to be, racing. Um, you can't switch lanes, so you can't actually pass anybody. You're just on a track, which sucks, and ramming into the person in front of you at top speed, which top speed is probably like 5 miles an hour. That's frowned upon to have any fun at all by ramming into the person in front of you. So you're basically waiting for like 20 minutes to wait in traffic for 5 minutes. Absolutely, I put it in F before I was even done talking, as you can probably tell. Um, Country Bears, Country Bear Jamboree is very strange. It's animatronic yeehaw bears singing songs, and there's not really much else to say about it. At one point, these three girl bears, and you can kind of see them in there, uh, they come out and sing a song called All the Guys That Turn Me On, Turn Me Down. So that's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they closed this sometime in the near future. They already did it at Disneyland like 20 years ago. Oddly enough, they made a movie based on this ride back when Disney was making movies on their rides. It started with Tower of Terror, strangely enough, and then they did Country Bears, then they did Haunted Mansion, and then Pirates of the Caribbean, the only one that actually made money. So they made, five more of them. But I'm getting off track. Country Bears, you don't really have to. You really have to see this. D for don't make movies about country bears. Um, things are, as a Disney aficionado, this is pretty depressing so far. But yeah, I promise things get better. I do. I swear. Um, Hall of Presidents. Hall of Presidents is actually kind of cool. If you can drag your small children into it, because what small child wants to listen to presidents talk? I know I didn't when I was a kid. Uh, it's just kind of interesting and informative. The experience dramatically increased when they put Trump into it because that mood in that theater is so funny. It's like a time bomb. Like the current president always has like a highlight where like only that president talks for a while. So when Trump is talking, you're just waiting for someone to scream like, "Boo, you suck!" at like a robot. And even if nothing happens, the suspense is still hilarious because you can just feel the tension. Especially since they put Trump in, they've upped the amount of cast members in that ride, so it's ridiculous. Um, and the animatronic looks suspiciously like Hillary Clinton. So there's that theory that they preemptively built Hillary and had to adapt it to Trump, which I really hope is true, but probably not. Um, shoot. Uh, B or C. Let's see. C for China. All right. Seven Dwarves Mine Train. This ride is confused because it's not a roller coaster. It's closer to like Dinosaur than it is to Space Mountain. Um, and it even shows like dark ride speed at one point where you're going through. Oh, oops. When you're going through a segment with animatronic dwarves, which kind of just kills the momentum of the roller coaster. But those animatronic dwarves are actually unbelievable. They collaborated with like the animation team to give them these like expressive faces, and they're definitely the highlight of the ride. And they were very proud of them, so they wanted to slow the cart down Jesus Christ. They wanted to slow the cart down when you're going by those dwarves, and it's very clear that they are very proud of them, and they should be. They're really impressive, but in terms of a roller coaster, it kind of kills it. I think it's the newest ride in Magic Kingdom, strangely enough, even though it opened in like 2012 or 13. So the line for this is always going to be crazy. You're going to want to go to Rope Drop or get a Fast Pass for this one. But I'd say it's worth it. A, solid. I mean, I don't want to say solid because, borderline B, but A. You can trust me on that one. Splash Mountain. Uh, Splash Mountain's a classic. Zippity Doo Dah and Pretty Good Schmozable are classics. They're bangers. Also, it's weird because New Year's Eve week, the line for this ride will be 5 minutes long, and then mid-July it'll be 2 hours long, and still be worth it because not only is the queue like 90% indoors, but the splash will cool you down for the rest of the day, so you don't have to worry about being hot. But the water, the Disney water, just smells absolutely iconic, and it's because they don't clean the water with chlorine. They use this thing called bromine because bromine is much less irritating on the skin and like the eyes, which is a safer bet, so they don't get complaints about weenies with paper skin complaining that chlorine got on them. And it does a better job at cleaning the water, apparently. A YouTuber, Rob Plays, does a very good video on this, and he does a lot of videos about a lot of other Disney topics, so I'll put his link in the description. Go check him out. Either no wait or wait, your heat problem solved, and bromine either way. Solid A. It just misses S because the animatronics is a little dated, and the movie it's based off of is like racist or whatever. I don't know. Peter Pan. Peter Pan's similar to Pooh, except it's ships that are like suspended on a rail above you instead of a bumper car that just kind of goes through everything. It has this bit where you take off and you just get an overhead of London, and the way they do perspective in that scene is really cool because like the buildings get smaller and smaller as you go through the room, but like you're not actually changing distance from the floor, so it's just all like perspective on how they made it. And it's really cool. The line is always long as hell for this one for reasons I just cannot understand because it's constant loading, but the lines still just get obscene. It doesn't matter. It averages like 40 minutes, which is just crazy to me. It's better than Pooh. I'd say C+. The line is air conditioned too, so that's a plus on mine. I keep avoiding Dumbo. I guess I'll do that now. If I do that one more time. It's obviously iconic, obviously for children. No real reason to ride it if you're not with younger kids. The line is always super duper short or non-existent, I guess, especially after they built the second one for some reason. But after they did build the second one, it's really tucked away in a corner, so the view isn't even that impressive. I guess if you're short on things to do, you can ride it, and a kid would like it. D for Dumbo. It's a Small World. This one's skippable too. I feel like even young kids might find it annoying. And the dolls are not nearly as creepy as like everyone jokes them out to be. And it's actually just kind of boring aesthetically, in my opinion. It's a pretty short line though, but I'd still ride Dumbo before I ride It's a Small World. Song can get stuck in your head for the rest of the day, which is pretty annoying. Aladdin, it's the same as Dumbo, just more aesthetically pleasing, I'd say. The view's a lot better because it's in the center of Adventureland instead of in the corner of Fantasyland. So I guess I'll put this in C instead of... there we go. I'll put it in C instead of D, just for that reason alone. All right, Buzz Lightyear Ranger Spin. Disney needs to make more rides like this because it is legitimately enjoyable for all ages because it's competitive and not easy at all. Um, the score ceiling is high. It's literally 999,999. And even if you're that good to get that, it's still a good effort to get there. And it's easy to mess up. It's actively engaging. It's air conditioning. The song that plays in the queue is lit. Um, and it's constant loading. So like the cars are just constantly moving. They're just putting guests in them as they go. It can still get up to like 40 minutes sometimes, but more often than that, it's like 30. Big ol' S. That's a great ride. Um, Haunted Mansion is another dark ride. It's obviously a classic. The building smells nice, and when I say it smells nice, I recognize that that's mostly driven by nostalgia. But definitely doesn't smell bad. So there's something there, surely. I'd say. Um, it's a big sentence on the smell of Haunted Mansion. The scare range of this is probably for kids the ages of 6 to 8. 6 and under, it's probably too scary. A 9-year-old will never be scared by this, and neither will anyone above that age. The song's a banger, and the line's rarely over like half an hour. So I'll put this in a very fragile B. All right, now Big Thunder. Big Thunder's fine. If you're expecting a roller coaster, you're gonna be disappointed. But after riding all these dark rides, you're gonna enjoy the change in pace. It's a little slower than something you'd see at like Six Flags, but it's something you should ride if you come here. And I really don't want to like bell curve this, but this is the second best roller coaster here. So loose A. No, it's an A. I'd say decent A. It's good. Pirates is in the same vein as like Haunted Mansion, and that it's like one of the two better dark rides. So I guess if Haunted Mansion is like a loose B, then Pirates is a solid B because of that bromine. You get the smell again, and the song's kind of a banger. And there's a really cool ambient song that plays in the queue that I like a lot. And the queue's air conditioned. Air conditioning is very important to me, clearly. Astro Orbiter. It's the same as Dumbo and Aladdin, but just higher up off the ground. It's pretty cool aesthetically as well, as you can kind of see. It's got like a planetary vibe going on. I'll put it in C. It's probably the best of these three, I'd say, though. It's probably the one I've ridden the least out of all these rides. I've definitely ridden it at least once, though. Once that I can remember. Mad Teacups. I'm sure these have an appeal, but I just do not see it, like, for the life of me. Like, even when I was, like, a dumb kid with no regard for my digestive safety, like, I still did not enjoy these. The sensation just never feels good, and it's not designed to. It's just designed to make you sick. I hate this one. Just F for which is what you'll do after you ride it. Ariel's underwater, whatever. This is the worst darkroom ride. They have no excuse to still be making these. Winnie the Pooh and Peter Pan, I'll give that to you because they've been there forever and they've achieved like classic status, so people would be upset if they got taken down. But this one really just feels like they were trying to fill space for that Fantasyland expansion that they did in like 2012 or 13. It opened in like late 2012, I think. The ride itself feels unfinished. There's like a lot of parts where you're just looking at absolutely nothing, and the aerial animatronic looks stoned as shit. So it's kind of funny, I guess. But it's no good at all. F. And that has a short line for a reason. PhilharMagic. It's just like a pleasant 3D show. They sing a lot of Disney songs at you, where they spray you with some like 4D effects, like little splashes of water. But what makes this ride almost worth it by itself is during the Be Our Guest scene when they sing "Try the Gray Stuff." It's delicious. They spray this like stuff like right in front of you, and it just smells great. That's B just for that smell. Just go for the "Try the Gray Stuff" smell. It's amazing. Laugh Floor. It's kind of close to Jungle Cruise in that it's very dependent on the cast members working at the time. Except this much more so. If someone's boring, the show will be boring. But you'll get someone who, has jokes and can be nice even though it's like Disney PG kind of stuff. It's meant to be like a comedy club with all the characters from Monsters, Inc. And what's cool is you can text your little popsicle stick jokes while you're waiting in the 10-minute line, so you might get a shout out during the show. So this can range anywhere from like a B to a D, but more often than not, it's pretty good. Like it you're gonna get winners more than you get losers. I'll put it in B. Um, Space Mountain, everyone knows Space Mountain, easily the best roller coaster in this park, and the queue lines will reflect this, unfortunately. It's no Raging Bull, but it's decently and fast. And like even if you've ridden it like dozens of times, you're still gonna be surprised when it like dips and turns and stuff because it's just pitch black. Um, and it's great. That belongs in S. Everyone knows that belongs in S. Barnstormer. Um, I mean, it's clearly like baby's first roller coaster. So it's like a tremendous roller coaster for kids, and they've renovated it recently, so it's a lot like cooler thematically. It's like the Great Goofini or something instead of just a plane and a farm. Um, if everyone in your party is over the age of like 8, then there's no reason to ride this at all. So I'm kind of confused on where to put it. Um, I feel bad putting it in like D and F because there is value there. Like if you have a small kid, this is like the best one to take them to. I'll put it in C. Also, the line's always short, so that's something. Carousel of Progress. This is actually kind of interesting. This was Walt Disney's favorite ride. It's a show about like electricity and technology throughout the ages. The audience revolves around this circular scene to see different time periods. I think there's like 4, and the last one's supposed to be like the future. It's actually like kind of funny how similar that is to today. Like what crazy insight he must have had to design it that way. Like there's a VR headset that like the kid and the grandma are playing for video games. A voice activated oven and Christmas lights. I like this ride. The line's always short, and I kind of feel bad that it's like tucked in the corner because I know that it was Walt Disney's favorite. But I like it. You should see it if you're like not with kids or whatever. B sounds about right for that. If I missed a ride, it's because it's a transport ride or a ride that just doesn't matter. So I'd say this feels pretty good. It's clearly bell curved a little bit, but you still get a gauge of what's good and what's not. Um, yeah, so I'll probably do the next 3 parks after this. I don't really know how to end this video. Like it if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing. I'm gonna try to post weekly nowadays for my I'd like 10 subscribers. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you can support this video, I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to make more like this. So see you next time, I suppose.